Obviously, we're in the book of Proverbs and we are in chapter 7, and we're in the middle of uh, Solomon talking to Rehoboam about, uh, well, he actually, I don't know if he makes up this story or whether it's something that he had actually seen, but we read this whole thing last week. Now I just want to talk about individual stuff as we go along. We started doing that last week too. Um, Talks about I was at the window of, at the lattice in the window of my house, and looking through the lattice, I could see a young man, and he went to the place where the immoral woman was, and uh, here's a young man devoid of understanding. Anybody ever know of any of those people? Everybody that's ever had a son knows that they go through a stage. I don't know if everyone does, but a lot of them go through a stage where they, does this guy have a head on his shoulders? What is going on in that brain? Well, so this is not an uncommon situation that young people have not the best judgment in the world. And so here's one of those folks, and uh, he intentionally does it. I mean, it says there that in the twilight and the evening, the black of the night, it's not something that just happened on the spur of the moment. And um, he goes there. This woman meets him wearing the attire of a harlot. She's not dressed properly, and uh, obviously dressed that way to attract. And she sees him as a good target to look after. It says that she had a crafty heart, so she knows how to manipulate. She was loud and rebellious. Um, I never spent any time in bars or taverns, but you see TV programs, and whether they're accurate representations or not, I don't know. But you see these loud, rebellious women sometimes, and this is not saying that all women are that way, but this particular woman was of that persuasion, I guess you would say. Her feet would not stay at home. She simply uh, was a carouser, I guess you would say. Now, I keep saying this every time, but you could switch it and think in your mind of Solomon talking to a daughter about a guy that meets most of these same descriptions, not all of them, but in principle, meeting him. But he's talking about more immorality, not specifically uh, just that all women are immoral or something like that. He's not saying that. But this describes how immorality presents itself, and he's looking from the standpoint of a woman enticing a man. They could just easily go the other way. But anyway, at times she was outside and at times in the open square. She's just going wherever she thinks she can find somebody. And it says lurking at every corner. And what do you think of when you think of lurking?
Just
Yeah.
Yeah, designs on.
Yeah, like it says if they're lying in wait, keeping your eyes peeled, looking around the corner, just always trying to find what you're after, lurking at every corner. And so she caught him and kissed him with an impudent face. She said to him, and so she just grabs a hold of this guy, young, uh, no judgment kind of guy, and just gives him a big kiss. And she says, I have peace offerings with me. Today I've paid my vows. Now, why would she say that?
Well, it makes her look right.
Okay, that's good. It makes her look like, yeah, I'm trying to do what God wants me to do. I've got the offerings that I'm supposed to bring, and I've paid my vows. I've done so. I'm I'm righteous. You don't have to worry about me. Now, it might be true that she's done those things, but did it make any difference to God if she did? No. Yeah, her heart wasn't there. But she says, I've done everything I'm supposed to do. So now I came out to meet you. diligently to seek your face. Right here's this little break. The word face in the Old Testament and the New Testament, for that matter, almost always, I don't know if it's, I could say almost always, but a lot of times, most of the time, it's talking about the presence in the face of someone, being in their presence. It's not talking about a literal face or uh, she's not saying, I think you're a hot looking kid or something, although she might. What she's saying is, I was seeking out your presence. I wanted to be in your company. That's what she's saying. And of course, this is flattery. Wow, you sought me out. Oh man, that's pretty cool. And she said, and I found you. Oh, good. You're just what I'm looking for. How's that sound to a young innocent kid? Or when I say innocent, I mean, uh,
Well, it says he's naive. It says he's devoid of understanding.
yeah. He,
So
he doesn't
get.
he doesn't get what she's doing. And to him, that sounds pretty good, man. Oh, she likes me. And so she's just pulling out all the tricks that she has. And she says, I've been looking for you. I found you. And I have spread my bed with tapestry and colored coverings of Egyptian linen. What is that? What does she say that?
Lightning.
Enticing. Yes. What if she,
Be a stinky.
yeah. I got a place out here, the garbage dump, we can move a couple things around. No, dude, I've got a house with a nice tapestry covered bed with Egyptian linen. Every time I hear that Egyptian linen, I know linen is not the same as cotton, but there's two places in this world where you can grow long staple cotton, the good kind. I used to buy my underwear at Penny's, and it always said Pima cotton, and that meant it was the best stuff. That's because it was grown in Pima County, Arizona, and Egypt and Pima County, Arizona are the only places in the world that you can grow that. And so when they're talking about Egyptian linen, it's good quality fabric, the best you can get. Nice Egyptian sheets. And she says, I perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Now,
It seems to indicate she's got money.
yeah, and there's another indication that we'll see in just a couple minutes, but um, just the fact that she has myrrh. Remember when we were talking about when Jesus was embalmed with a bunch of myrrh and how much money that was worth, $100,000 or something like that. And so myrrh is not a cheap perfume. It's not. She didn't say she was dumping a gallon of it or anything like that. But so myrrh is expensive. Aloes. When we think of aloe, we think of aloe vera, right? Well, aloe vera has a scent, but it's not a real. It's not like you'd go buy it for perfume. But the aloes that they're talking about here is not aloe vera. But they don't really know what kind of wood it is. But one suggestion is sandalwood. It has a nice scent to it, and like what's the stuff that they put in hope chests? Cedar. You know how they have that kind of fragrance stuff. It's some kind of wood that has fragrance, and then cinnamon. We all know how good cinnamon toast smells when somebody's making that. And so I've just perfumed the bed with all these pretty smelling stuff. And then she says, "Come, let us take our fill of love till the morning. Let us delight ourselves with love." So she just said, "Let's just make love all night long, and we'll just have a great time." Now notice what she says next. Here's why we can do this. Here's why. My husband's not home. So what does that tell you about her? Morality wise, if she's married and she's inviting a guy to come spend the night in her bed, she's not a wholesome woman. She is the harlot that he mentions earlier. My husband's not at home. He's gone on a long journey. He has taken a bag of money with him. Now, do you have to be well off to have a bag of money? So yeah, there's another indication that she's living high life with a husband that's a businessman that's got money, and he's off on a business trip, taking lots of money with him. And so here I don't have nothing to do. So he's gone. He's on a long journey, taking a bag of money with him.
That seems to. He is gonna be gone for a spin.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that is a pretty good indication of that. Um, so there's another thing. And then the last, pardon me. Wow, I just lost my voice. I think there's water in here somewhere. You never know when you start taking a different medicine, what's going to happen. Anyway, um, he's taking a bag of money with him, and he'll come home on the appointed day. Well, what does that tell you? She knows when he's coming back. He's on a schedule. I've got to go over here. Uh, I'm heading up to Damascus. I've got business to take care of up there. I plan to come back on the 9:15. Whatever.
9:15 for
Yeah. He's got a schedule that he's going to follow. So don't worry. She says all this to tell this young guy, don't worry, we're not going to get caught. Everything will be great. With her, verse 21, with her enticing speech, she caused him to yield. With her flattering lips, she seduced him. Now it says she caused him to yield. Did she make him? No, but was it because of everything she did? Yeah. Would he have done it otherwise? No. So she has, they both obviously share guilt in this process, but her more than him because he is lacking understanding and she's taking advantage of that. And so she just uses her enticing speech, just everything she can think of to say to get him to go along. And so she seduced him, got him to go sleep with her that evening. And verse 22 says, immediately he went after her. She's enticing, but it says he went after her. He's got a part in this guilt as well. He went after her, and here's a description of what that's like an ox that goes to the slaughter. You're leading an ox to the slaughter. He has no idea what's coming up. He gets into that stall where they're gonna whatever they did back then, slice their throat and just let them bleed out until they collapse. He doesn't have a clue. He's just going, okay, yeah, well, there must be some hay up here somewhere, and goes to his own death, or adds a fool to the correction of the stocks. The stocks is where they bind them in there, and then they can beat them or throw tomatoes at them or whatever. There's whatever the correction that's involved in the stocks. These people that act foolish, they do stupid stuff that'll get them put in the stocks. I mean, putting in the stocks is not a capital punishment. It's just doing stupid stuff that gets you put in there. And we've all seen cowboy shows where the guy gets put in stocks because he got too rowdy in the tavern or something like that, and just doing crazy stuff, just not realizing the punishment that's coming. And then it says, till an arrow struck his liver. I honestly don't know why that phrase is put right in that spot. I think he's talking about uh, or perhaps about the ox, or uh,
maybe guilt hit him,
pardon?
maybe guilt hit his conscience.
Yeah, I mean that would be a figurative representation of that. The physical description he's talking about is describing all that stuff like you're talking about. But when the arrow strikes your liver and you're living back then, you're a goner. You don't go to Harborview and get fixed up. You're a goner. It just sneaks up on you and you're dead. And then he says, as a bird hastes to the snare, he did not know it would cost his life. I can't remember I know snares are used for like rabbits and things like that. I'm not sure how a bird gets caught, but I guess they would just with a wire with a spring with a branch bent over. Bird steps in there, they put some grain, and bird steps in, trips it, and it just trips and grabs it leg or something by the wire. Anyway, you're just walking along, and the next thing you know, you're caught. When I was a kid, I raised pigeons, and not just homing pigeons like you see all the time, just regular uh, rats with wings kind of pigeons. I had really fancy ones, but I also had to make a way for them to get in the cage without me being there, because I would let them out, and they were just trained. I had a hole cut in the bottom of it that was big enough for a bird to get through, and I would just run a string of grain up to it and then into the cage, and they would just come and eat. And next thing you know, they're in the cage, and they'll never go back out the same way they came in. So I didn't have to worry about them getting back out again. But I also would catch doves that way. I mean, that was just part of the thing. And I love to just hold them and look at them because they're so sweet. Uh, they're the dumbest bird there ever was, I think, but you could, they didn't have a clue that, oh, here's grain, here's another one. Oh, here's another one. Next thing you know, they're caught in a cage. This is the kind of thing that these talk about. And uh, this kid that lacks understanding, next thing you know, he's bought into this whole thing and did not have a clue that it was going to cost him his life. Now, that word life, as I put out the side there, can mean physical or spiritual, or can refer to the soul. And uh, any one of those fits right here. The husband comes home early, finds this boy, this young man with his wife. What's he going to do? Yeah, it's going to be doomsday. So his literal physical life is going to be uh, in peril right there, but also, and more especially so, well, let's do the second one. His spiritual life. What does that, when you commit sin and get involved in stuff, what does that do to your spiritual life? It kills it. It makes you not able to really be a spiritual person. When you've committed sins, they come between you and God in more than just the eternal punishment kind of sense, but it just kills your spiritual life. You don't want to get involved in that kind of thing. He's trying to impress this on his son Rehoboam. But then there's a third way, and that is the soul. And he didn't know it would cost him his soul, his connection with God. His soul dies. He's not going to be spending eternity in heaven. And that's how did the kid get this way? Through ignorance and lacking understanding. Now, what has the Solomon been saying? We already looked through the book of Ecclesiastes, but here just in Proverbs, how many times over and over and over again has he said wisdom and understanding and knowledge? He keeps hammering and hammering and hammering. And then he says, and here's a guy that doesn't have that. Here's what happens to him. So this is the story, Rehoboam. So verse 24, now, therefore, listen to me. This is what happens when you lack understanding. Listen to me, and my children, pay attention to the words of my mouth. Listen to what I'm saying. Don't just hear me talking. Sometimes that happens, doesn't it? You talk to your child, and then think, did they even hear a thing I said? Did any of that soak in? Well, that's what he's trying to get at here is don't just listen to me, but pay attention to what I'm saying. Let it soak in. Do not let your heart turn aside to her ways. Do not stray into her paths. And here's why. She has cast down many wounded who were all slain by her many who were, and all who were slain by her were strong men. I'm not saying, my son, that you're not a strong man, but there's a whole lot of strong men that were slain by her. Don't you think you can succeed somehow in a way that they can't? So she's cast down a lot of people before you, and you're not going to be the last either. And her house, verse 27, is the way to hell, descending to the chambers of death. That word hell is Hades, means the realm of the dead. Now, that's another one of those words that refers to two different things. One is the eternal punishment of hell. The other one is just simply the realm of the dead. Here with Hebrew parallelism, you see the same thing. Her house is the way to the realm of the dead, descending to the chambers of death. And so she has no good end in sight for herself or for the people that she takes down with her. If you want to go to her house, you're going to where the dead folks are. And that's not something you want to do. And so with those things said, now he again begins to personify wisdom as a woman. And as Rehoboam, listen to this. Wisdom's trying to talk to you. And he uses the word she all the time, as if it's a woman talking to him. But this is wisdom talking. Does not wisdom cry out and understanding lift up her voice? I mean, you have been hearing, talking to Rehoboam. Who's talking to Rehoboam? It's Solomon, the wisest guy that ever lived, raising this son. If he was getting any advice at all from his father, which he was, he's been hearing about wisdom his whole life. And so he says, hasn't she been talking? Doesn't she cry out, lift up her voice? She takes her stand on the top of the high hill beside the way where the paths meet. She cries out by the gates, at the entry of the city, at the entrance of the doors. So what's that telling you? Wisdom is everywhere. All you got to do is listen for it. I mean, there's wisdom wherever you look. There's wisdom. And all you have to do is listen and soak it up. But if you choose to, you can ignore it. You can see the advice. I'm driving in my car, and my GPS now, it says there's a police ahead. So what do? Step on the gas? No, you slow down. That's wisdom. If you're not wisdom, well, it doesn't mean me. I probably won't. You can talk. Well, that's not a wise thing. So it doesn't matter. Wisdom is out there. You just have to pay heed to it. You have to listen to it, and it's everywhere. Verse 4 says, "To you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of men." Wisdom is talking to people. Have you ever tried to reason with a dog? As much as you love your dog, now if you do this, if you drink this milk, you're going to have the runs all, okay, you can't reason. Reason is for people, and it's for the sons of men just means people. That's who wisdom talked to. That's who needs to be listening. Then he says, verse 5, "Oh, you simple ones." Simple means naive. And is everybody naive to start with? Yeah, we are. That's how God designed things. Just like as a newborn babe just needs milk. They can't take the stronger stuff. We're all that way, both just as human beings growing up from being a real baby and growing up, but also as Christians, we start out pretty naive. There's a lot that we don't know, and we can be taught false teaching, and it sounds pretty good to us. We don't, but so that's why it helps to have someone to help you along and to guide you in the Word of God and that sort of thing. But he says, "You simple one, you naive ones, understand prudence, and you fools." That fool is a stupid man, a simpleton, somebody that just, maybe not playing with a full deck. Be of an understanding heart. When he talks about you fools, he's talking about people that are acting like fools. They're not necessarily really stupid or really a simpleton, but they're acting like that. They shut their mind off to truth and understanding. And so he just calls them names that you wouldn't really want to be called. Naive, simple, naive, a fool. He says, be of an understanding heart. And what that's saying is you have control on how your heart is. It can be an understanding heart, or it can be a heart that simply doesn't care, just wants to do what it wants to do. But he's encouraging people, be of an understanding heart. Have it in you to want to know right and wrong. Have it in you to want to be wise and have knowledge and know what to do in any given situation. Then he says, verse 6, listen, for I will speak of excellent things. From the opening of my lips will come right things. And the word right is the first part of the word righteous. And that's what righteousness is right. Being right. Last week in the Sunday morning lesson, talked about being made righteous, justified. God, because of Jesus' sacrifice, says, you're right. I declare you to be right. And what he's saying here is what wisdom is saying, I'm going to say good stuff. I'm going to say excellent stuff. And from my lips will come right or righteous stuff. I'm going to explain a little bit. Verse 7, 4, here's my explanation. My mouth will speak truth. That's how I know it's going to be excellent things. Here's why my mouth will speak truth. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. Wisdom is saying, I don't talk wicked stuff. If you're wise, you're not going to talk wicked stuff either. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are with righteousness. Everything I say, when wisdom's talking, it's good, righteous, in line with God kind of stuff. Anything that's not in line with God, anything that's not righteous, it's not wisdom. And so that's one key for us is when we start hearing somebody talking about something, trying to convince you of something, does it align with God? If it doesn't, it is not wise. It's not wisdom. It's not from God. So that's something that we need to always keep in mind. Gene, did you have a?
My dad used to have a saying, always tell the truth, and you don't have to remember what you told people.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a sign once that said, speak the truth, there's less to remember. And that is true. So anyway, that's what wisdom does, is speak the truth and will not involve itself with wickedness at all. Next line says, nothing crooked or perverse is in them. And that's talking about his words. Or wisdom's talking about her words. There is nothing crooked or perverse in them. So if you stick with wisdom, you're going to be sticking with righteousness and right. You're going to be right with God if you follow after wisdom. Solomon's doing his very best to tell Rehoboam everything he can tell him to get him to look, follow after wisdom, get understanding. With all you're getting, get understanding. He's already said that. And so verse 9, he says, she says, wisdom says about her words, they are all plain to him who understands, and right to those who find knowledge. Is wisdom and understanding difficult? No. It's simple, plain and simple. It's not that hard. Um, if you to find knowledge, you can do it. You don't, it's not like you have to climb a glass mountain to finally go to some sage that has wisdom and knowledge. It's there, it's crying out in the streets. Just listen, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and and get it. It's not hard. What you have to, in order to find knowledge, what do you usually have to be doing? Looking. You got to be looking for it. If you look at, you'll find it. Sometimes people stumble onto it, but for the most part, if you want to get it, then you better start looking. You can't expect to just stumble onto it all the time. And so, verse 10, receive my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. And so, whatever you're going to do, receive means to take in, make it a part of yourself. Take in my instruction. Don't be looking for silver and gold. Now, is he saying that you never have to look for money or try to find a way to make a living or anything like that? No, what he's saying is wisdom and instruction are more important than silver and gold. Solomon had more gold and silver than anybody else before him ever had, and maybe than anybody else after him ever had. I don't know about that, but I know he had more wisdom than anybody else. But he had a lot of money as well. He wasn't just ignoring it altogether, but he wasn't seeking it either. A lot of it was just coming to him because of the wisdom that God gave him. People were coming, bringing gifts and all that kind of stuff. And so anyway, but bottom line, he's saying the emphasis needs to be, you need wisdom and understanding more than you need money. And here's why. Wisdom's better than rubies. That's why you need to seek after wisdom, is wisdom's better than rubies, and all the things one may desire cannot be compared with her. Everything you can think of that you'd like to have, all the money, the diamonds, the silver, gold, the cars, the boats, the houses, the dresses, the jewelry, whatever, none of that can compare with having wisdom and understanding. How many people you know that, or let's say maybe you didn't know them, but you're aware of them? Howard Hughes, for example, how did he die? He was just
Pathetically.
he said his fingernails were like 6 inches long, and just, he just a hermit. He wouldn't go outside. He had all this money, but what did it get him? It didn't get him where he would have liked to. He thought it would end him up. And how many stories like that are there out there? Wisdom is better by far than anything else that you could desire, any physical stuff that you could desire. Verse 12, Gene, did you have
Maybe you've covered this before, but in your thinking, why is the way wisdom spoken of in the female gender?
I think I have spoken of that before, and I don't know. I think it's just because the female is looked at, like a mother figure. For example, a kid will listen to his mother long before he listens to his dad, usually, and that may be why. But other than that, I can't say that I really know. Okay, so then he says, verse 12, I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and find out knowledge and discretion. How many times have we heard this before? Solomon just piling it on. Same thing. Wisdom seeks out knowledge, and the way to use that discretion is using knowledge properly, using knowledge in a good way. And so that's what wisdom does. It looks for the best way to handle things. Then verse 13, we've heard this before too. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogance, and the evil way and the perverse mouth I hate. So wisdom's talking the deep respect for God even to the point of actual being really afraid. That vision or that attitude towards God involves hating evil. And why is that? Because God is what? Love and righteous, the exact opposite of evil. And if you care about God, if you respect him, you can't have anything to do with evil because it's the exact opposite of God. He says pride and arrogance and the evil way and the perverse mouth I hate. Wisdom hates that stuff. One of the seven deadly sins is pride, right? And that's one of the things that God hates. He hates people that are puffed up, arrogant. God, any evil way, any foul mouth, any perverse mouth is totally opposed to wisdom. If you want to follow wisdom, none of that stuff is going to be part of your life. Verse 14, counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. So wisdom says, I am understanding. Wisdom and understanding are really the same thing. Sound wisdom, I don't know what unsound wisdom might be, but I guess you have the wisdom of the like the Egyptian soothsayers or whatever. That's a kind of wisdom, but it's not sound. It's not based on true understanding. I guess that's what she might be referring to, that kind of thing. But wisdom can give good advice, and it's understanding. It's knowing how to handle stuff, everything that you come across. And she says, I have strength. There's strength in wisdom to make good, solid decisions. Will help you be successful. For example, like a king going to war. You read in the Old Testament about a king getting advice. Should I go? Should I not? And God says, like Balaam says, no, don't go. Yeah, I'm going anyway, and getting defeated. The wise thing to do would have been to take the good advice, to follow the wisdom. And so anyway, there's strength in wisdom. The next part, still talking about the same thing, but I'm almost out of time, so I'm just going to stop here, and we'll talk about the rest of what she has to say. Actually, I was looking at it for some reason in my mind for the last quite a long time, months, I guess, last month or two. I've been thinking that I was going to go through chapter 11, but the Proverbs start in chapter 10, the actual Proverbs. I from the very beginning, I think I said we were going to go through chapter 9, and then I got it in my head it was through 11. We're going to be stopping after chapter 9. So maybe it's possible next week we will finish what we're doing here with Proverbs, and then